Hi, I'm E. McNeil, the creator of Darknet, which is a cyberpunk hacking game for virtual reality, and this video is meant to be a little tour of the Gear VR version of the game. I have a Gear VR right here in front of me, and I will just shove the camera up to one of the lenses so that you can see the game in action. And as you can see, it's a surprisingly smooth experience. It's running at 60 frames a second at a 1440p resolution on the cell phone. Darknet is normally going to be sold for $10, but the Gear VR will only support free content at launch. So rather than holding back the release of Darknet or doing like a demo or a light version or something, I'm just going to release the whole game for free temporarily. So if you're an early adopter, you get the full premium version of Darknet for free. So let's go see what that looks like. Darknet was designed exclusively for VR, but I am playing with a mouse on a 2D version of the game just to make this video a little bit easier to watch. So when you first log into Darknet, you start out in the main menu, and there are various panels that you can look at, and they show you data on your hacking so far. You can read news stories on previous hacks and how that's affected the world, upgrades of advanced mechanics, settings, etc. When you want to start hacking, you access the cloud. And from there you're surrounded by dozens of different options of networks that you can hack. Each one contains hundreds of unique nodes. They all have a description, a difficulty rating, a Bitcoin bounty, a time limit, etc. So let's pick this one.
Initiating connection.
Fun fact, that is the voice of John St. John, who also voices Duke Nukem.
Loading network visualization.
So now we are inside the network. Every one of these nodes contains a unique puzzle. We try to capture nodes by using viruses, and they're all protected by antiviruses. So the first step that I'm going to take is buying one more virus to make it a little easier at the start. Now every network has a time limit, but the time doesn't start counting down until after you've started hacking. So you have some time to sort of look around and plan your strategy. And I think I'm going to start out here.
Network trace detected.
So now I am inside a node. You can actually look outside and see the rest of the network surrounding us. So the basic idea is that I have a couple of viruses that I can inject. And I can only inject them into these blue things, which are antiviruses. My goal is to spread a virus into the core, in the center. However, the virus will spread outward, but if it touches another antivirus program, the antivirus program will spread outward and destroy the virus. So watch. It spreads outward, but then gets consumed by the antivirus. Luckily, I can restart at any time and try again. So the general idea is to figure out where you can inject viruses such that you'll eventually be able to spread it all the way into the center. If I spread here, I can eliminate some of the antiviruses so that this one can spread into the core unimpeded and capture the node. And that earns me some funds that I can use to buy software. Now, the puzzles get much more difficult than that, based on the size of the node and the number of firewalls protecting it. Here's an example of a more difficult one. You can see how the complexity scales up, and since it's randomly generated, all of the puzzles are different. I can make puzzles easier by capturing nodes next to them, or I can spend money to buy more viruses, which can make it a little easier. But if I really want to be efficient, the thing to do is use other types of software, like a Hydra. I can install the Hydra in any captured node, and it spreads through the nodes along these links and captures them without me having to hack them manually. Now the one problem with the Hydra is that it can't penetrate shields, which are the blue bubbles surrounding certain nodes. The blue nodes are called sentinels, and they're projecting a shield onto all of the nodes surrounding them. And so these blue nodes are sort of forming a wall of shields that's preventing my Hydra from spreading further. Luckily, there's another type of software I can purchase called an exploit. And the exploit brings down sentinel nodes and therefore removes shields. So if I use this in a couple of key places and then buy another Hydra, it should be much more effective. And so now I'm rich. My ultimate goal is to capture the root node, which is the largest and most difficult node in the network to capture. Now, luckily, I have a lot of money now. So even though that would be impossible to hack, I can spend some of my money to remove the firewalls protecting this node and make it a little easier. And I can use the money to purchase some extra viruses. But before I go and capture that node, let me go over a couple of the other advanced mechanics that I haven't gotten to yet. So the last type of software you can purchase is a worm. And a worm can be installed in any captured node. And it will then travel to another node and weaken it. And the question is, how do you know where it's going to travel? Because that's important if you're going to use it efficiently. And the game doesn't ever tell you this, but the worm has a simple AI algorithm that determines how it moves through the network. And sufficiently advanced players are going to have to figure out that algorithm, deduce it from experience, if they're going to be able to use the worms effectively. And that's actually kind of a common theme in Darknet. The basic mechanics are simple, but there's a lot of hidden information that elite hackers are going to be able to use to their advantage. So for example, look at the little yellow orbs that are traveling between nodes. Those are data packets. Now those look random. They look like they're just there for decoration, but they're not. Those are actually revealing something about the network. Those are showing information. And a sufficiently advanced player will be able to read that information and use it to their advantage. Another example is something similar to the digital rain in the Matrix, like that falling green code. It always bugged me that in those movies, the digital rain didn't mean anything. It was just like backwards Korean characters and stuff like that. So in Darknet, there's a feature called the data view. And all of these letters and numbers have meaning. And an advanced player is going to be able to learn to read this code and use that information. Personally, I don't even see the code anymore. All I see is blonde, brunette, redhead. But enough of that. Alright, let's go finish this level. Our goal is to capture the root node. I've weakened it considerably, so there's many fewer antiviruses than there were a moment ago. And I have lots of viruses that I can use to inject. So generally the strategy is trying to find an isolated antivirus program that I can then use to spread all the way into the core. So I think... let's try some of this. I think this will work. So hopefully I've cleared up enough space. Yeah. There we go.
Data acquired.
And now the network is mine. I can look at some stats on the hacking that I just did. And then when I'm ready, I download the data directly into my brain.
Prepare for direct download.
And that deposits me back in the main menu. I've earned some bitcoins, my skill rating has been updated based on the difficulty of the level that I just finished. There's a new news story about some data that I just captured and leaked. And when I'm ready to begin hacking again, I just access the cloud once more. So that is Darknet. Thanks for watching. Hack the planet.